For sure, you have seen a British, Chinese, or Haudenosaunee player that gets a math score during the game, and the reason for that is their ability to do the cow booming or livestock booming. Hey lads, this is Jaegerchere, and on this video I'm gonna explain to you what is livestock or cow booming and how to use it and when to use it properly. So firstly, the livestock or cow booming is a type of booming where you use the livestock which are at the moment inside the game. The livestock are llamas, the sheep, the goats, the water buffaloes, and the cows. So I'm not sure if in the future we will get any other livestock animals, like for example in the upcoming African expansion, either we will get a new livestock unit, which I don't see it, because inside the video I saw there are some goats, so I guess they will use goats, but that is for later. So those are the animals that are already exist in the game, which you have to use them as a livestock. So in this type of booming, you will mainly use the livestock as your source of food, so you will ignore the hunts, so you will just use the livestock animals. Because why is that? Because the gather rate for them is insanely high if you have a certain amount of cards, and also the upgrades, of course. So I have seen some people, they get confused and they just use the livestock anyway and anyhow they want. So I have to let you know, if you use the livestock in a wrong way, you will just destroy your booming. So basically, for sure you can just use build your livestock pen, or for the case of the Chinese, you will use your village and then just train some goats and then let them fatten without doing the upgrades or having the cards. Actually, having the cards for Chinese is not really necessary, because there is another type of booming which you can use the goats, but still I'm talking about the village, the specific upgrade that is available inside the village, where it help your livestock to fatten faster. So I've seen some people, they just build the village. For example, let's say they're playing as Chinese, they build the village and then they just train bunch of goats around the village, and then they say, I am doing the livestock booming. That is completely wrong. Why is that? Because you're basically wasting the food and the amount of time you're spending during the game. The reason for that is because let's say if your village is not upgraded, for example, I'm just saying all these examples regarding the Chinese, okay? Because this applies for all the civilizations and all of the livestock booming, so I'm just giving this as an example. So let's say if you don't have the upgrade for the livestock to fatten faster, for example, for one goat, and this is just an example, I don't have the specific number because I didn't try to get the exact number, but if you want I can just compare all of these later in a separate video. But for example, for a goat, it would take around like 2 minutes without having the upgrade to fatten completely, to have 300 food. And if you have the upgrade ready, it would take around 1.5 minutes. So it's like much lesser time to wait until the goat is ready to collect the food. And I've seen some people doing the livestock booming in supremacy game as well, but the main concern here is the treaty game, because I feel inside the supremacy games you have to be quicker and you have to basically use your units and then attack your enemy, do some raiding, unless you want to do some turtle, and then just I mean, in that case you might be able to do some livestock or cow booming, but based on what I've seen until now, I don't see any use of it inside the supremacy game. But I don't know, maybe there are some players who can achieve it, but again, if you plan for that, you have to aim for the late game and you have to turtle properly, because if you don't have a proper defense, I mean, enemy can raid you easily. Because in case if you want to do the livestock booming, you need cards, you need some cards, and also you need some resources to start. I mean, basically the livestock or cow booming is what you aim for the later stages of the game. So it's like an early investment for better resources as you progress to the game. So that is for that. So make sure to know when to use it, and also which civilizations to use it. Keep in mind that you cannot do the livestock or cow booming with all of the civilizations inside the game. I've seen some people, they do like the Lama booming with Portuguese, which is completely wrong, or they take cow booming for Russian, or cow booming with Germany, even though the gather rates of the settler wagons on the cows will be quite good, but still it's not worth it to take the cards, because when you want to do the cow booming, you have to take certain amount of cards inside your deck, and when you take those, that means you have to sacrifice other cards in order to take those. So that's why it's not recommended to take the cow booming or livestock booming for all of the civilizations inside the game. You can, okay, I'm just gonna stress on this. Up to now, you can use the livestock or cow booming for Chinese, British, and Haudenosaunee only. And there is an honorable mention, which is Lakota, because their gather rate on the meals and farm is just horrible, and also because later during the game they will get the infinite bison shipment, so they will use the hunts because their gather rate on the hunting animals is just insane. So just for that, they can also use cow booming to have higher resources before the start of the battles. But again, even for Lakota, you can still go for the meal booming, and I would say it's a difference of around 20 to 40,000 food at the 40-minute mark of the treaty. So, and that's I have to stress on this, that depends on how you do it. So later, I don't want to see people say I couldn't get even 15k more than the normal booming with Lakota. So that is on how you do it. I'll try to explain it so you can apply that.
Just do it!
So anyway, so again and again and again, for all the civilizations inside the game, you cannot do the livestock or cow booming. So make sure to only take it for either Chinese, British, and Haudenosaunee. So keep that in mind. Now you might ask when to start the cow booming or livestock booming. The answer for that is from the beginning of the game, from the first minute of the game. I've seen some people that they take the cow booming deck or the livestock booming deck, and they start to do it after they get Imperial Age. That is completely wrong. The reason for that is you want to take and gather from as many cows as possible before you start your fight, right? The reason for that is basically you will get more resources, right? So the later you start it, the less cows will be fattened and will be ready to gather, and that basically means you will have less resources. So the reason you are doing this type of booming is to get more resources. So by doing that, basically you're just you're damaging yourself by, because when you take the cow booming cards, basically you're sacrificing some other military cards, right? So make sure to always do the cow booming properly from the beginning of the game, okay? But again, for the case of Lakota, you because the only reason for this is they don't have the fast gather rate card for the cows, so because of that you will only do this after you get Imperial. So instead of using meals, you will use livestock to gather the food, which I will explain later during the video. Now let me explain to you why you shouldn't take the cow booming or livestock cards for all the civilizations inside the game. So let's say for the case of British, they have these 4 cards, which is for livestock or cow booming. But for the other civilizations, I guess all of the civilizations except for Portuguese, which they have llamas instead of cows. So you can with Portuguese you can train llamas. There is a card that they have, so instead of cows you get llamas. And then for Japanese, they don't eat cows, they're vegetarians, I would say, based on what the game say. So they don't use any type of animals for their source of food. And as well as Indians, where they value cows, and they just put the cows on their shrines to generate XP. So except for these 3 civs, the other civilizations, they all have this ranching card, which enables you to train cows from your livestock or farms. And some other civilizations, I would say most of the European civilizations, they have this stockyards card, which enables your livestock to fatten quickly. As you see, it's 30% more fatten rate, I would say, for your livestock animals. So this means they will fatten faster, at a faster rate. Okay, so aside from these 2 cards, all other civilizations, except for Chinese and Haudenosaunee, of course, they don't have this card. Why is this card so important for livestock booming? I will show you now. Okay, let's say, right, speed always wins, and then we build on livestock. Okay, so let's say we have this card, and even we have this card. All right, and then let's say we have this upgrade. This is the upgrade that I was talking about. So you must so for the case of the European civilizations, so since you only have to do the livestock booming with British, so on livestock pen for British you have to take this upgrade, and this upgrade is available for the Chinese as well, which is inside their village where the cows or livestock get fattened. And for the case of Haudenosaunee, this upgrade is on the farms where they train the livestock and fatten there. So this card always important, don't forget. I will explain later when you want to learn how to kaboom with British. So now we're talking about the gather rate. Okay, so since the game speed is at the highest level, so this one is ready, but by right it shouldn't be ready this fast. Okay, so now we have this card. Now we take the game speed to the normal. Speed always wins. Okay, so now just look, see the gather rate of the villager from the livestock. In case if you don't know, this is the new thing that they have added to DE. So you can see the resource gather rate per second from the villager or the building or whatever that's gathering resources. So for now it is gathering at 2 food per second. Okay, but okay, let's just stay there. Speed always wins. I just set it that way so I can send this card fast. Okay, now again. Alright, now see the gather rate 8. So it's like this with this amount it's like having one factory on food, right? So one factory with the upgrade, if you put it on food, it's 7.15 food per second. So when you have this villager working on the livestock, it's 8 food per second. But if you don't have this card, which you saw it earlier, the gather rate was 2 food per second. So it's 4 times the amount of food gather rate. So the reason for this other civilization, which they don't have this card, that makes them less valuable for the cow or livestock booming. Firstly, as I've explained, because you have to sacrifice other cards in order to take these 2 cards, so you can train cows and also fatten them as at the highest rate. So aside from that is this resource gather rate, which so basically if in case if you don't know, let's say okay, this cow is fattened. All right, so let's say okay, this cow, we kill it. In case if you don't know, even if you don't have any villager on it, it will lose food per second automatically. So this food is going to the waste. So the lower is your gather rate on these animals, basically you're losing more food per second, right? So that means you're wasting the resources throughout the game. So that is one of the reason, and the other reason is because you have to do extra work with the cow booming. Obviously I've seen bunch of people who want to do the cow or livestock booming. At first they will look like this. And then by the time and by the practice, so the more time you spend on a strategy or something, you will learn it more, right? So at first everyone is like that, which I've shown you just now, but the more you practice, the more you will get used to it, and you will be faster and quicker, and you will have the idea. So just keep in mind, this is the reason that you don't do the livestock booming with all of the other civilizations inside the game. Now we get to the most important part about cow booming, which is shift clicking. So what is shift clicking is a function of the game which enables you to set up a unit or villager to do multiple tasks without assigning it one by one. Okay, so let's say for example you want to chop this tree and then collect this mine and then take this hunt. So if you don't use shift clicking, you have to click on this, and then once this tree is finished, and then after that you go to mine, and then after that you go to the hunt. So when you set up the shift click, so let's say for example I click on this, hold shift, and then click on the mine, and then after that click on the hunt. As you see, I clicked on two different paths just now, but the villagers are still working on here. The reason for that is it will the game will set them to firstly finish this wood that they are chopping. So once this one is finished, set to 0, they will move on to this coin mine, and then after that, after they collect the coin mine, after it's finished, they will move to the hunt and then clear the hunt. So this is a function of shift clicking. You can use this for a lot of things inside the game, and shift clicking is really important. You must learn it and how to do it. So the reason that it is important for cow booming is, I'll just do this simple example. So I send villagers to collect the food, and then meanwhile I want to make the walls. So I'm just making the walls as usual. So once I'm doing something else, by right, my villagers should be done. Yeah, they're done. Okay, so as you see, once I'm setting up my walls, or this was just an example, or doing something else, your villagers finish their work and then they will just stand by. They won't do anything else. So now by doing that, you will lose your time and the resource that you could have gathered per second. So but if you do that with shift clicking, okay, let's say for the ship I sent 2 villagers, click on it and then hold shift and then click on the whatever building that they were working on before. Okay, same goes here, click, hold shift and then click back. So as you see, once they are done, I won't do anything, they'll just go back. So once you do this, you will save a lot of time, because you don't need to, for example, this one is done, after that you just click on the unit or drag it and then set it back. These are just small things that make so much difference in a long game. So you have to practice the shift clicking for cow booming, especially because it's really important. If you don't know how to shift click, just practice it for a couple games against AI. If you see this game, just put up a treaty against the AI and just practice shift clicking. So click, hold shift, click back. Click, hold shift, click back. And then also you can just do that for multiple target, like one, hold shift, click, 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 go back. So I just wait up to it move to this one, so you can see. And the process of it is in the same order that I clicked. So after it's done with this, it will go to this and then this and then this. And you must keep in mind, you have to hold shift after the first task that you give to your villager or unit. So the first task you don't need to hold shift, but after that you hold shift and then click on the next task. But make sure you don't shift click more than 2 animals, because again you have to wait more times until they are done with this and then go to the next. So maximum, I would say, just put 2 for the sheep and for the cows. Just just shift click them and then go back instantly. Okay, so that is for the cows. Shift clicking, again, very simple. Click, hold shift, click back. Click, hold shift, click back. And then also replace them with the key bindings. Okay, now we have the next part where I'm gonna explain to you why and how many villagers you have to use when you want to, like for example, you want to kill this cow, how many villagers you must use and why. So as I've explained earlier, okay, let me put the speed back to normal, always wins, or okay. So when the cow is killed, as I've explained earlier, they will lose food per second. So the more villager you send on one animal, that means you will gather all of this food at a higher speed. So basically you will lose less amount of food from the automatic livestock waste. So based on what I found, I would say the most optimum number of villagers on a livestock animal is 3.
Yes.
You can also send 2 villagers, but what I suggest is to put 3 to get more resources and have overall better booming. So what I found up to now is to use 3 villagers per livestock animal. The other important factor about cow booming is, or livestock booming is, when you're gathering resources, I mean, for example, when you kill this cow, just replace it instantly. Okay, like let's example, if we had like, I mean, if all of these were ready and this one just died, just replace it instantly. Okay, with the how you can do this easily is to set your livestock on a key binding, which I usually set it on 1 because it's easier and I'm used to it. So when you do that, you just click 1. I mean, for example, I want to kill this. Okay, let's say I'm maxed cows. Okay, let's say that one is finished, and then move to this, I kill it, and then click 1 and then press C, which gives me, I mean, it will train the cow. So in case if you are not familiar with the key bindings, you can just go to the option and then go to hotkey and then set it out to legacy. I mean, that is what I use. If you're using different set of hotkeys, that is up to you, but based on what I use is on legacy. So when you want to set, for example, units or buildings or whatever into a group, into the grouping hotkeys, so you just, again, this guy is talking. All right, so you just click the building that you want and then hold alt and then press 1 or 2 or 3 or this applies up to 9. And then so let's say, for example, if I press 9, it will automatically select this, or if I set it on 1 and I click this, kill them, press 1, it will automatically select this. So this gives you the ability to be faster in your cow booming, so make sure to learn that as well. This one just comes by practice, it's not much of a big deal, so make sure to have that in mind as well. The other part that I have to mention to you is never okay, let's say for example your cows are ready and fattened. Don't just simply send like 5 villagers to the cows and then they just gather slowly. Okay, as you see, these cows are ready here and they're just there, and since there is a cow limit, you cannot train more of them. Even though these are fattened, you cannot train more of them. So what you need to do is to take out all the cows which are fattened. So ideally it's better to have 3, as I've mentioned, 3 villagers per livestock, but you can put 2 as well to harvest them. So you need to kill them as quickly as possible and then finish them as quickly as possible. So when you do that, you can just max out your cows. Okay, so I just want to like, okay, let me just build nice win. Okay, so now let's say all of these are ready. Okay, now speed always wins. I just put it back to normal. Okay, so let's say all of these are ready and these villagers are working on wood or the nearby coin mine. So what you need to do is you just put them to kill these animals. So you kill them and then again you replace them instantly. Never let your livestock to be fattened at idle for a long time, because the longer you wait, that means the longer you have to wait for the next cow that is trained to be fattened and ready to harvest. Okay, so make sure to wait, was it the harvest? Was harvest the correct word actually? I don't know, never mind, you know what I mean, right? So make sure to like never leave this alone. So when you have those going to the next cow, send these as well. Okay, and then replace them instantly. So again, this applies for all of the livestock, so it doesn't matter if it's cow or sheep, so always kill them. But I would say for sheep is like fine because they have 300 food, and like for example, if you send like 15 villagers or 10 villagers to all the sheep, you can just clear them instantly because of the insane gather rate that you have with your civilization, and also because they have only 300 food, so it won't take that long to clear them out. So regarding the cows, again, you kill them one by one. I've seen some people to kill, once the cows are ready, so let's say all of these cows are ready, then they're out, so they just select them all and then kill them. I don't know why they're not getting killed, so they just kill them and then send these villagers on them. You can do this, but this is 100% wrong. The reason for that, for sure you will get the work done, but as you see, all of these cows are losing food per second. So it's like having an assignment and doing it at the last minute, then doing it properly in like during a week or so. So of course, again, it will get the job done, but you will lose a lot of resources. So make sure to always, at least for your cows, just shift click them properly as I've explained to you. But for the sheep, it's fine as I've explained because they have only 300 food inside them. So usually for 30 sheep, what I do is I send 30 villagers and sometimes 40 villagers because they can clear them super fast. So once they're ready, they walk out, you just click them and then just select them all and kill them. Not when they are not fattened, after all of them walk out. So after you oh sorry, I didn't set these to hotkeys, so I usually set these to 1 for the one that I use for cows, and then the one for the sheep I use for number 2, hotkey number 2. So again, after these are fattened and they're ready to get killed, to collect the food from them, so you just send villagers on them and then select them all and kill them, and then again As soon as you kill them, just replace them with new animals. The reason that you see these villagers become idle because these animals were not 100% fattened yet. So if they are fattened, okay, let me show you actually. So if they are fattened properly, okay, let me just put my villagers idle. All right. So if they are fattened properly, as you see, okay, all of them are fattened, I suppose, right? Okay, so I set them to heal the chip and then delete them and then replace them. So as you see, since the one before they were fattened properly, now my villagers won't be idle, and even when they see new set of fattened sheep, they will just move on it. Okay, but make sure, just keep in mind that this doesn't apply for different type of livestock. So if, okay, let's say just for now, okay, let me just move this here so they will be close to this. So both of these livestock are ready, but since this one is a different type, it doesn't move. I mean, the villagers won't move to them. So always keep in mind, the villagers only move automatically if the livestock is the same type of livestock. Alright, now we get to British cow booming. Alright, now we apply this so we can get the speed up with wins, and then we give ourselves some home city cards, and then we go to the home city and then we select our cow booming deck. Alright, so what is the first card that you must send? Of course is this card, the ranching card, which enables you to train the cows from your livestock. Why is that? Because the earlier you will get the cows, as I've mentioned earlier, the earlier they will be fattened, so you can get your food from them earlier. So basically you will build your livestock. Of course you must build it in a correct way. Make sure, okay, for example, for this case, since we are teaching everything, we teach everything correctly. Okay, so let's say, so this will be your back base, which by right you have to build your economy, and this will be your front base. So you will never build your livestock at the front base. Why? Because you want these to be at the back where your villagers are working. So this is wrong. Wait, why it didn't delete? Okay, whatever, the game just want to make me look bad. All right, so with British, how you want to set up your livestock booming is to set up the livestock pens. So you need 5 of them, 3 for sheep and 2 for cows. So in case if you don't know, each of these livestock pens, they can take up to 10 animals on them. So let's say if you have 10, they will work properly, but if you have extra, actually they are fattened, so now they walk out. But if you have extra, they will just walk outside of the pen, okay, until these are finished, and then as you see, they just go in automatically. So since you can train 30 sheep, so you need 3 of them. 3 times 30 is 3 times 10 is 30. So you can have all of your sheep to be fattened on this. So I can show you how it will look like. And also make sure to for example, if you want all of your sheep or livestock animals to go on your livestock immediately, it's just like setting a waypoint to for with other buildings or military buildings. So you click on the building, and then you just right click to give them waypoint, right, or rally point. So this applies the same for the livestock. So anywhere I put, as you see, okay, the ship will go there. But what you want to do is click on the livestock and then click on the livestock itself, okay? And then when you click it, they will just go on it automatically. This applies for all of them. So what you want to do when you click to build them, click on them and then right click on themselves. As you see, so all of them have these rally points on them, okay? So as you see, when I just select them all, I just train the ship, and then they just automatically assign on the livestock, okay? So what you want to do with British cow booming is to have these 3 livestock, one here, and if you have space, I mean if you have enough space at this part, so you place another 2 here, but make sure the gap between them is enough to okay, whatever, it doesn't matter which age I use, because I just want to explain to you this setup. So you need to have enough space between these 2 livestock to place at least 1 plantation, okay? So as you see, I have enough space for 1 plantation, another plantation. I mean, the gap should be enough to fill a plantation. I mean, the meals also have the same what is it called, same space. So either meal or plantation you want to place, you need to set them in a way that you can have 1 plantation in between. So aside from that, let's say, for example, if you do not have enough space, okay, let's say for example your ally is building here, so you need the space. So the other way to set it up is to build it like this in an L shape, okay? Make sure you don't make sure you don't build too close to each other. The reason for that is let's say, okay, I built here. If you build it in that way, okay, and also let me send the cows. So let's say the cows actually take more space compared to the ship, okay? So make sure to always leave enough space so you can, okay, let me actually speed always in, since I mean they're too close and they fatten too fast, it's causing problem, okay? So, and again, I just want to set the rally point. Okay, speed always wins. Speed always wins. Okay, as you see, since they're too close, this one, it cannot go anywhere. This one, it cannot go anywhere. Same goes for this. As you see, when you build it this way, even though they want to go and take a place, they don't have any space to go. So basically you're wasting 3 cows space, unless you want to spend another 200 resources to build another livestock, which you can, but again, it's 200. So what we do basically with the livestock booming is just set up all the buildings at their own place, so you don't need to rebuild them. But again, if you're not really certain on where you want to place them, you can just build 6 of them. I mean, yeah, 6 of them at the back of your base. Also make sure you have enough space to fill here. The reason that I'm stressing on the space between your resource building and the livestock is because speed always wins. Okay. Oh, and also I don't have house. So the reason for that is later you want to shift click on the animals. So if let's say this gap is too close, what will happen is the livestock animals, they will just bump into each other and then they will stuck. So at here you won't have enough space to set your villagers to gather from them, and sometimes your villagers will be idle and you won't notice. So make sure to always have some space here, and by right it is the best to have it in a way that that you will have enough space to feel an economy building around your livestock. All right, so make sure to have that in mind as well. And also, again, this is the wrong way. Okay, so the correct way is to, I mean, for British at least, is to have it 3 at one place and then other 2 for the cows at the other place. So these 3 you don't need to build them as early as possible, but the first 2 livestock, basically you need to build it as early as possible because you want to max the cows, and there are 20 cows, so each of these can take 10 of them, so you need 2 of them at least. And for the cows, they are fine, you can just stick it to the for the 2 livestock, you can stick it to each other, so there will be enough space for the cows to just fatten and get out. Okay, as for Chinese setup, you always get 1 goat for free, don't forget that. And regarding the building that you can set your livestock unit to it, instead of the livestock pen, with Chinese you have the village, which is this building, so you press E, which is the hotkey for village, and you will beat it up. And also let me put the speed always wins. Okay, so again, once you build your first village, you set your goals to it. And again, regarding Chinese, since you need to build up around your villages, so make sure to leave a space for a village, for a rice paddy here between your town center and the first village that you built. Also, another minor tip I would say that you can use for the Chinese, when you build your rice paddies, and actually I'm not sure if it will show now or not, but let's try. Hold on, Orion. Okay, so let's just use this deck. Okay, so first card is this, the water buffalo. So instead of the normal ranching card, which gives you the cows, with Chinese you get water buffaloes. They cost the same and also provide the same amount of food. So 80 food per water buffalo, and when they are fattened, they will give you 500 food. And next, you have to get the stockyard as usual, and at last the card which increase your gather rate from the herded animal or the livestock. So with the Chinese, when you build the village, make sure to not select this one by mistake, because this is the upgrade that you need to take for the livestock. This one will give you extra population cap, as you see. Don't misclick it, because this one costs 200 wood, and if you do it by mistake in early game, it costs you quite a lot. So make sure to use this to increase the fatten rate. and of course set them as hotkey. Okay, so I just wanted to test this so to see if it happens actually. Okay, so now they walk out, but if this place is filled with buildings, they usually just like when they are fattened, they just be like this. So it's sometimes it's hard to identify. So what I suggest is to leave at least like one gap, as you see. So this is the first position that you can build, so give it like one gap, as you see, one space, and then in that case you won't have any issues later when the animals are fattened. They just walk out properly. The next thing about Chinese is that if you remember with the British, as I've shown you earlier, the food gather rate was, oh, actually now it's like super fast because the speed is up. Speed always wins. Okay, so as you see with Chinese also, the gather rate is 8 food per second, but when you build up the market, always wins. And also let me since I want to show you the upgraded gather rate, so I just age up randomly so you can get the
A little slow on
market
your age
upgrades.
advancement, I see. Perhaps you need
Oh,
a minute
please shut
before
up,
I
I'm
attack.
explaining. Thank you. Alright, so this upgrade, which is the last market upgrade, as you see, it's 5% gather rate for the herded animals, which are the livestock units. So when you take this and the second one as well, so this one also applies for the livestock as well. So now the gather rate will be insanely good. Okay, speed always wins. So now you check out the gather rate. So they will have 8.30 gather rate per second, and also just to show you how good this the cow booming with Chinese is, even though speed always wins. Okay, even though with British you have the refrigeration as well, but you don't send the refrigeration as British usually when you're booming, because you max your coin gather rate so you can trade for wood, and then usually you will send the refrigeration and the your meal upgrade card from the H2 when you progress during the game. So when you're fighting, usually you will take that, so you can send some of the villagers to the meals in case if the cow booming is not enough to support your food gather rate. But just to show you this, I mean up to this point, British also have this one, but the gather rate is lower because Chinese have these two upgrades with the market. So, and also let me show you the consulate as well. I'm just showing you why the Chinese cow booming is super powerful. Okay, speed always wins. Alright, so now you check out the gather rate, 8.70. Okay, so with refrigeration, the market upgrades, and all of the cow booming cards, and also this stacks with the French consulate, so you will have, I think it was 9 foot per second if I'm not mistaken. We'll see in a second. Oh, sorry, 8.80. okay, 8.80 foot per second, which is higher than any other cow booming save. And I think it's overall the highest gather rate among the normal villagers, I would say, because the French villagers obviously they have good gather rate if they have I mean, if you have them, if by any chance you can get them. Like for example, in Dakota you can get the CDBs, which are the French villagers, so their gather rate is higher. And also the settler wagon, if by any chance you have German teammate and then they send you team settler wagon, then they will have insane gather. I think it's 16 point something gather rate, which is insane, or I don't know, maybe 17. So overall the gather rate with Chinese is insane. So again, for the so this is how you get max gather rate from the livestock. So market upgrades, the last two, the French consulate, and also all of your Colburn cards basically. And the other thing I wanted to highlight, except for British, where you don't need to don't need to use the hunting. With Chinese you need to use the hunting even after you get the cows and all, because you want to max your villagers as fast as possible before you hit Imperial, and also because of that sometimes you will need more resources. So what I found up to now, I used the last market upgrade for, I mean basically second market upgrade for the hunting as well. So my food gather rate from the hunting will be fine as well, because since you are maxing your villagers before you proceed to Imperial, you need to use some hunts. I mean, you can deny that as well, but sometimes you will be slightly late to age up. So I suggest to take both of the upgrades and then use the hunting after you hit industrial age, so you can send some villagers to hunt to max out your villagers and max out your eco in terms of food. So in terms of the setup, speed always wins. So do up to age 4 with Chinese, you will use 4 villages. Okay, set them as hotkey. So 4 villages with the gap that I've mentioned. So you need to have a base like this with Chinese. So make sure to, I mean, for example, if there was anything else like either trees or mines, make sure to get rid of them before you work on the mills. I mean, sorry, rice paddies, because sometimes they will make your villagers to stand by and be idle and you won't notice it. So make sure to do that, and this is how you want your villages and your cow booming setup look like with Chinese. And of course, after you hit Imperial or H5, you build the other 2 villages. So what I do is I put 4 at the middle, rice paddies, and then 2 at the side or back, or whichever that I have space. And the other thing you need to do, this one is like a small tip, I would say. So make sure to place a building. I mean, now there are trees here, so I cannot place, but you place a building behind these 2 villagers, which you mainly use it for the goats. So you place a building, so when you spawn the goats, as you see, they won't spawn at the back. So they will all spawn toward your villagers, not at the back. I mean, if you see my Chinese cow booming, Chinese with cow booming gameplays, you will notice how I set up these last 2 villages. So make sure to put them again in a place that there is nothing at the back. So as you see, the goats won't spawn at the back, so they all spawn at this area. So you can shift click your villagers easily, else you have to let's say for example I have to, for example, if my villager is working here, I have to shift click here, so they have to walk all the way here and then come back as well. So make sure to do that. And regarding the cow booming, the livestock booming with Chinese, keep in mind that each of these villagers, they only can take 5 livestock, so that's why you need to build 4 of them at the first. So at age 1 you need to build 4 villages so you can train and max out your water buffaloes, 20 of them. And then later, regarding the goats, some people said, why don't you use the card which gives you extra villages so you can set all of your goats inside the village while you're doing the booming. The reason for that is because it doesn't worth it. It doesn't worth the space, because just show you the I just want to show you the cards that Chinese have. I mean, if you see, I'm already sacrificing some of the units upgrade, which are like artillery upgrade or the infinite shipment that you can get, which are instant, and it's amazing. So if you want to use more cards, like for example extra village card, I mean the village build limit card, you need to sacrifice some of your army cards, which is not really worth it. So again, I suggest you to just go with this. It's good enough and it's efficient enough. And also make sure to not select these and mix them with this, because you don't want the goats to be trained here, because you already have the limit with your livestock. So you always want to have your water buffaloes maxed out, and either they're ready and you're gathering the food from them, or they're getting fattened. So aside from that, like for regarding the goats, okay, let's say if you are I mean these goats are ready, and let's say you have more villages. Okay, so let's say these are working here. So what I do recently is I select 2 villagers and then shift click 3 goats, and then same thing, shift click 3 goats and then work and then set them back. So by doing that, since I mean in any case you can only have 5 goats to get fattened from the villages, so in this case you will I mean your villagers just go one by one and go to the next goat which is fattened, and then the goats that are outside, they'll just slowly getting fattened. And the other thing that you can do regarding the goats is send 3 villages to one of the fattened goats and then let them clear them slowly, and then if you want more score and more resources, of course you just shift click the remaining goats. So in that case the 3 villages will slowly clear out the goats, and with the other shift clicks you just clear out the rest of the fattened goats. And the same thing regarding the that I've explained about the 3 villagers per livestock, 3 villagers per cow, I mean sorry, water buffaloes. Click and shift click back. I think this one was finished since the game speed is high. So again, click, shift click back, so they clear and then go back. So the aside from this, you can actually, I've recently found another booming with China, which you use some of the villagers card, which you can see in my latest Chinese gameplay. So you will have 137 villagers, and with those at the 40-minute mark you will have more resources than you have with the cow booming. And also, I don't know why, but somehow I found it more useful than the call booming. But still, I mean, call booming, if you have it during the game, it's much better, because those, even the with 137 villagers, you will lose them as you're progressing through the game and setting up the base, forward base, and pushing. So you will drop down up to 100 villagers. So, but with cow booming, you always have these cows to fatten, and you will have this insane gather rate. I mean, it's not 800 gather rate, it's 8.80. Alright, so I guess, oh yeah, so regarding the other booming that I've mentioned, the villager booming basically with Chinese, you still can use goats to boost out your economy. The reason for that is, even without this card, your gather rate from the goats is, how much was it actually? I think it's 2.8 or 2.9, I forgot the exact number, but that is decent enough, because even with what is it, even with maxed economy cards, and also, let's say, we are imperial. Did I send all the cards? Yes, I did. Okay, so let's say if we are maxed out, okay, speed always wins. Okay, if you're maxed out, your food gather rate from the rice paddy is 1.25 food per second. But imagine when you can get these goats, which give you 2.8 food per second, so it's like 2 times the amount of villagers that you're using. So that's why it's worth it to use it. But again, this applies for Chinese. Make sure to not use it for other civilizations, because as I've said, it is worth it slightly, but it doesn't worth the time that you waste to shift click and then to gather the resources. But with Chinese, as you see, since I would say their cow or livestock booming is slightly easier, I mean, compared to British or Haudenosaunee, that's why I would say it's worth it, because it's not really hard to do. Alright, now we move to Haudenosaunee, and with them, what you get at the first is 5 villagers and then this building traverse. So what you want to do with this traverse is to build a farm. The reason for that is you can, the house, the cost is 125, but the farm is 400, so you don't need to gather extra resources for the farm. So what you need to do is build it, I mean, make sure to rotate it in this way. So the okay, so I would say the outer part of the farm will be faced towards outside. So I'm talking about this part, because your livestock, okay, let's have 10 sheep, because they will face, I mean, when you want to set them to fatten, they will go to this part of the farm. So, and this part the villagers will use. And the other thing that you need to keep in mind, each farm can take 10 units inside. So it's either you use 5 villagers and 5 livestock animal, or you will use 10 livestock animal and no villagers, or you use the 10 villagers or no livestock animal. So, and if you want to put more of them, of course they won't fill in, because it doesn't work that way. Okay, so what you need to do with this booming, I think I need to make a complete guide with Haudenosaunee, because they're really complex, and if I want to like explain all these boomings, it will take ages inside the video. So What you need to do about your base is, okay, let me just clear up this space, and also my cow booming deck. Again, as usual, you will have the ranching card, which gives you cows, and this card, the stockyard, and the fooling mills, which gives extra gather rate. So again, same like other cow boomings that I've explained until now. Okay, let me just give some more cards. Oh wait, no, and oh yeah, okay. So first card is ranching. Same reason, you need to max out your cows as fast as possible. Next is this, so they will fatten faster. And at last is this, so you can gather from them at a faster rate. So after you get the ranching card, you will be able to train the cows. So for the Haudenosaunee, this is the only, I would say, exception. So with them, you will train 10 cows and make sure to get this upgrade and also this upgrade, because this upgrade, as you see, it will boost your resource gather rate. I mean, I have to explain all this in another video because their booming is just slightly complex. Right, so what you need to do is train 10 cows, and after that you just gather the resources until you age up. And while you're aging up, you still have villagers on hunting animals. Okay, so let's assume you're on hunting animals, and once while you're aging, you will train the other 10 cows, and as soon as you age up, as you see, you will get another building trailways. So you will use this to build another farm, and make sure, since these are the cows, and as you see, they're drag sorry, I forgot the name of the thing, but they get more space compared to sheep. So yeah, you will need 2 space between your first farm and the second farm. So 1, 2. So you put it this way, and then put this one as 1 and put this one as 2, and make sure to set the rally point as well. So 1, 2. The reason for that is because as I said, their booming is slightly complex, and if you don't do this properly, you will have a lot of headache and a lot of issues. So make sure to do it right from the beginning. And of course, you don't want to waste extra resources. I mean, it's 400 resources per building, so you better build it in a right way. So at age 1 up to age 4, you will need only these 2 farms, and after you get to age 4, you will get, okay, so this is your 3rd age up. You will use this to build your state, so you can get upgrade your gold. And this one, the 4 travels, you will use it for the 4th age up, and you will build 4 more farms with these. So I would say, again, this applies the same 1 gap, because as you see, when they are too close, if you have villagers working on this farm, which I'm placing now, when the cows are fattened, they will just bump into each other, and sometimes there will be issues. Okay, so leave 1 gap, and same goes for this, 1 gap, and also 1 gap from the other one. Next, again 1 gap, and the next one you build it at the back. So since this one is going to be for the villagers, you can stick this one to the previous one. So this one you stick it. But another tip, so for you guys to know, make sure to not build your farm as you see it like this, because okay, I mean the easiest way to show is to, I mean to understand is to demonstrate. Okay, so let's say I have this farm and I send the ship. As you see, this one is out of the map, so the ships are not going inside this area. So that's why you need to put it in a good place, so something like this. Or since for this case, I mean, if you're stuck with this scenario where you don't have enough space at the back of your base, make sure to place your farms on this direction. So for example, for this case, the first farm, do I have a villager here? Okay, so the first farm that you build with your druid, it will be at this position. Next one will be 1, 2, this position. Again, same goes for the rest. So one here, and then one gap, one here, one gap, one here, and then these. Since this one is for the villagers, this one will be for the ship. Okay, so these are the trees, so you have to chop them off and then build them here. So okay, let's assume, actually I can clear them out pretty fast, I guess. Yeah, I can clear them out fast. Okay, so I can build the rest of the base. So again, after this one, you need another rows of farms. So this one, again, you need to have one space. So this is the place, and you give it one gap and then build the other. And again, this one will be for the villagers, so you don't need to put any gap between them. So no gap, and also here. No, actually, why this one is too close? Wait, is it too close? Yeah, it is too close. Why though? Wait, I don't understand. Oh, okay, this one I put two gaps, that's why. And with Haudenosaunee, you need to have enough space, because else you will have a hard time doing the call booming. Because as you see, with Chinese, you have the villages, which they are like a square type building. They don't take much space, and also for British, you will have your livestock pen, which again doesn't take much space. But with Haudenosaunee, you have the farms, which they take quite a lot of space, as you see, and you need a lot of them. Okay, so again, this one for the ship and this one for the villagers. So overall you need okay, so again, this one will be for the ship. I forgot to set them. So okay, let's put it this way. So 8, 10, let's assume these are getting fattened. Okay, so this one here, this one 10, and this one 10. So you have 30 sheep here while they're getting fattened, 20 cows here, and these will be for your villagers. So 30 villagers here. So once the cows are fattened, you just shift click the 3 villagers, click, and then shift click back. And same goes for the other cows. But regarding the sheep, what you can do and what I can suggest you to do is to do the laziest way possible, which is to select all of these 30 villagers, set them to to the nearest ship, and then select all of the ship and then delete them, and then select these 3 and then replace the ships. Oh, I didn't set the rally point for this one. So by doing this, since the gather rate is quite fast, as I've mentioned, they will clear out these sheep quite fast. But again, if you want to do the efficient way, it's better to shift click them just the way that you do with the cows. But this can be done for the sheep as well, as I've explained for the British. But again, if you want to be more efficient, it's better to shift click rather than kill them and then set them. So with this booming, as I explained, this is the setup. So 2 for the cows, 3 for villagers, 3 for sheep, and 3 for villagers. And if you have more space, I mean, for example, here you can put another 2 villages here. Sorry, 2 more farms, 1 here, and then 1 more here. If this, I mean, by right, you should build this at the back. So in that way, you will have all of your villagers working, and they are also nearby your livestock animals, so you can just shift click it easily. So you won't waste so much time with the walking and the traveling with the villagers. So yeah, this was it about Haudenosaunee as well. As I've said, I mean, it might look simple, but with Haudenosaunee, when you do it, it's kind of annoying because of how these farms work. Because as you see, it's taking so much space compared to like the one with British or the one with Chinese. I would say that the easiest one is the Chinese, because it's compact and also it's much easier to shift click, because the rice paddies, the villagers don't walk around, they're just working at one place. Alright, now with the last civilization, which coal booming, I would say for this, for Lakota, you can also ignore coal booming, but again, if you want more resources, you can use this strategy. So the thing with Lakota is, as you see, I mean, I don't have the meal card in my deck because there's only one, and this one is a pre-setup deck. So Lakota, they only have one meal upgrade card, which is at H1, and with that card your gather rate at the farm is quite low. Okay, let me just age up quickly. Okay, so without the speed always right. Okay, so without that card your gather rate is 0.98 food per second, and even after you get the meal upgrade, the only meal upgrade that you have with Lakota, your food gather rate is 1.0 I think it's 1.05 food per second, and that is, I would say, it's not enough for a civ like Lakota, where you need more economy, because your economy is not that great. I mean, your food gather rate is insane, but from the, of course, from the hunted animals, I mean, if you send these 3 cards, which is for hunted animals, so speed always wins, and also the last age up upgrade, which you get from the age up, which gives, I think it's 20% extra gather rate from hunted animals. So with all of those, speed always wins. So with all of those, your gather rate is I think 2.48. Wait, wasn't it 2.5? Am I missing? I don't know. I think it's that way. Okay, so it's 2.48, and as you see, it's quite a lot of difference. So by right, you have this infinite bison card, which you will use it later after you max out your economy cards. I mean, sorry, your military cards. You take all these upgrades, and you send these infinite bison card after you're done with all other cards. So usually what you want to do with Lakota is to have the best army at the start of the fight, because the further the game gets, since you only have one upgrade, which is like 10% gather rate for the state or the plantation, you don't have any other coin gather rate boost card, so your coin gather rate is so bad, which makes their economy super weak. But in terms of food gather rate, as I've said, they're amazing. So what I'm suggesting, just with Lakota, instead of using the farms to gather the food, what you do after you hit Imperial, what you need to do is, again, just like Haudenosaunee, build 2 farms here, and then also another 3 anywhere that you can, like for example here. I mean, of course, not too far away from each other, here and here. And make sure to not stick these too close to each other, because in that case the livestock animal will just bump into each other, which they will cause problem. And of course, don't forget to do this upgrade. And also, after you hit Imperial, you send the ranching card. So the Lakota, they only have the ranching card, they don't have any other cow-booming card. So this is the only card that they have, and I would say that's more than enough for them, because again, what you need to do with the livestock is to just use it up to the point where you spam out the bisons, and after that you won't even need them anymore. So again, 30 sheep and then 10 cows. So 10 cows here, and then 10 sheep here, 10 sheep here, and 10 sheep here. So you max out your livestock. So I sent this here. So you max out your livestock and then use these bisons, and also if you have other other hunting animals available, just use them if they are nearby, of course, not when they are like across the map. So just use them, and then even though, as you see, they just fatten slowly, but it doesn't matter, because by the time you are done with these bison shipment, which you get from Imperial Age, and also the hunting animals which are available inside the map, these cows and sheep will be ready. So just use them as the source of food, so you don't use the meals at all. So you use these and the other livestock animals, and then if by any chance you were done with the bisons and all of the livestock animals, and you were like just waiting for another set of them to get ready, just send your villagers either to wood or just build some states and work on them until the next batch is ready. But if you do it right, so by the time when these are finished, and once you are clearing these out, you can just the next batch will be ready. And regarding the shift clicks, it doesn't matter for Lakota, because since the gather rate is just 2 resource per second, what you need to do is just like put like 3 to 4 to 5 villagers, and then, like for example, if this one is fattened, you just set them to this and then replace it when they're just gathering it slowly. And then like if you set them on one, as I've mentioned earlier, they will just automatically move to the next one when they're fattened. So you just set like between 10 villagers. Yeah, I think 10 villagers enough on the cows, and then 10 villagers on the sheep, and then the rest you put on the trees and the plantations until you get to the point where you spam out the bisons, and then you will just gather from them. You can ignore the livestock. So this was, I would say, an honorable mention for Lakota, because I mean, with this booming, I mean, if you use the livestock rather than the farm, you will have around, like, I would say at least you will have 30, yeah, 30k more food at the start of the fight, which is quite a lot for Lakota. So have that in mind, and hopefully that will help you as well. One more thing, guys, regarding the llama booming. I've heard some people say, how about llama booming? Is it good? I'm gonna say it's a no, a big no, because the llamas, they cost 80 food, and instead of, I mean, the cows, you pay for 80 food, and in return you will get 500 food. But for llamas, it's 80 food and you will get 400 food. So it's less amount of food, and like, for example, for, even though it's not good, but for example, for Portuguese, where you can train llamas, it doesn't really worth it, because aside from the amount of food that they provide, but also their fatten rate is not as fast as cows, so they are slower and they provide less amount of food. So that's why I'm highly suggesting you guys to not do any type of llama booming, so just keep that in mind. And overall, that was all about this video. I hope you guys found it interesting and you learned some new stuff. If you have any further question regarding the cow booming or livestock booming, you can ask me in the comment section below, or you can join inside my Discord channel and ask me there directly, and I'll try my best to answer all of them. And if you have any other requests regarding the guides inside the game, you can just ask me, and I'll do my best to prepare them and show it for you all as soon as possible. So see you all, stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.